I am content creator Lona. I am a wellness advocate and energy worker. I am dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs create a balanced and healthy lifestyle by providing tools, tips, and resources that elevate health from the inside out. Every episode, myself, along with a featured guest, share our steps to feel good daily journeys on my globally recognized show, Steps to Feel Good Daily with Lona. Hi, welcome to my first show. I'm so excited to get started. But before I do, I'm going to let you know why I am doing this. I am actually on a mission to help others live their most powerful and peaceful life, so that they can uplift others, uplift themselves, and that once they do that, their love, their light, and their talents can all shine. And one thing that I know is that you can't shine your light if you don't feel good. So, we are blessed to have amazing bodies that have the power to heal when we have the right tools and the right mindset. That just adds to our power. So my goal is to share these steps to feel good daily. And to learn more about me, you can go to happyhealing.me. But I have a super special lady that is in the green room, and I'm super excited to have her. Her name is Claudine Francois. I love this woman. She is amazing, to say the very least. She is super, super, super amazing. Claudine is a content creator, podcast host, and creator of Empowered Radiance Program. She helps women become more empowered, taking control of their life and lifestyle, giving them back their health, and having enough energy to become radiant, positively affecting the lives of those around them. As a certified health coach and functional medicine practitioner, Claudine has helped scores of driven women step out of burnout and overwhelm into their most radiant life, so they can have all-day energy, focus, motivation, and their healthiest body to take on the world. So I'll bring her up from the green room. Yay!
Hi.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're my first guest, because we're like so in tune and in line with the same thing and the same goals. When I read yours, I was like, oh my gosh, that's just exactly what I'm here for, just in a different way. And I'm really excited because kind of on the journey that I'm doing, you're the very first step, the most important step for us, which is nutrition and metabolism. So that's why I'm so excited. So I would love for you to tell me a little bit why you started, and then we'll go forward from there.
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I am honored to be your first guest. So thank you so much for having me. I love everything you do. And you have such a great presence around you. So I'm just happy to be here. The reason I got into the health space, especially for women, was because I found that in my own journey, I was working myself to death, right? Literally working myself into an early grave because I was killing myself from the inside out. I had a series of health issues that we really don't have time to go into, but I eventually found my way to health. And now I help women do the same thing because I see us continuing the cycle of burnout and overwhelm, and we feel like we can't get out of it. We don't feel empowered in our health. And I really wanted women to feel like they had control over what's going on in their lives and in their bodies.
I love that. That's like this free share. We free to share, free to become you. I love that. Now, I know that you have your. I had asked you the question, what if you do? I can't see. So steps to feel good daily. Planning is the key. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So I asked what your share was, and it is planning is the key. And I absolutely think that is super important. if you don't have the good stuff around, it's easy to reach for the food that does not serve you. I love that. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And I'll tell you about my experience that happened to me today.
Absolutely. Well, and I think as busy women, especially women entrepreneurs, right? Like we have so much going on that if we don't plan in advance for the food we're going to eat, it either doesn't happen or we end up going through the drive-through, right? Or we just grab what's around, or sometimes even worse, we may not eat at all, which is what a lot of the women I work with, they just skip meals, which actually stresses your body out. It increases your blood sugar level because your body is trying to compensate. It increases your cortisol. But in order to prevent that, we need to plan. And some of us are like A players at work. Like we can strategize to no end. Like we got our plans for the whole quarter, for the year, who knows? But when it comes to planning for our health, we just like put it on the back burner. So I find that when I work with these kick butt women, right? These driven women entrepreneurs who are going to like take on the world. I'm like, let's take on your health first, because you can't do all those other things if you're exhausted or starving, right?
Absolutely. This is definitely a step into wellness.
Yeah. Step one, take care of you.
Yeah. Well, before I came on, I was like, I had read through your stuff, your share, and I'm usually tempted to go grab the chocolate. So yesterday I'm guilty of what you had said the first time, which is I didn't eat until like from morning until like 8 o'clock at night. I didn't have the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, now that you just told me that, I'm just so bummed that I did that to my body. But today, because I read your step, I said I'm going to go eat a little bit of soup before the show instead of going for the chocolate, which is what I would normally do.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. And it's great that you had that soup available, right? You had planned ahead to have something that you could reach for rather than just going to the pantry and picking out whatever looked the most exciting, right?
Yes, and you taught me that, so thank you. I make those soups ahead of time, and I love it.
Mm.
So you have a feel-good tip. Listen to your body and follow its internal wisdom, which I find funny because I had come up with mine, and then I saw yours, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so much the same."
We're like right there.
Rest when you need to rest. Connect with people when you're in the mood, and love yourself as much as you love others. Oh my goodness, that is definitely a healing moment there. Can you
Oh,
elaborate?
yes. So I am very guilty in my former life, right? In all the years I was in corporate, I expected myself to be at a certain level every day, right?
Mhm.
Like we had a coffee mug in the office. It said something to the effect of, I just am so tired today from kicking butt yesterday. Like I was so amazing yesterday. I'm just exhausted now. But, as women, we often put that pressure on ourselves to achieve every day. And sometimes you always need a rest day. You always need to make time for yourself to recoup, right? A lot of us don't give ourselves enough time to recuperate, regenerate. And we need to make sure that when we want to connect with people, definitely do that, because that will bring us joy. But it's not going to bring us joy when we need a nap, right? So listening to what your body needs and honoring that. I think we're so good at listening to other people and their needs that sometimes we just ignore our needs, right? To the detriment of our health.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because we're so busy helping everybody else that we just put ourselves aside. I'm guilty.
Well, and that's why I think it's so good to have a community of women, because we recognize that about each other. We're much better about recognizing it in someone else, right? But we need someone to point it out to us.
Yes. So, this is one thing that I had thought of, was using muscle testing to when you're grocery shopping. So that might sound crazy to you.
No, tell me more. I want to hear more.
Well, because it's like there's certain ingredients. I mean, sometimes we know we're supposed to shop on the outer rims of the grocery store, correct?
Yes.
Am I correct? Most of the time, that's really what we're supposed to do. But
The fresh
sometimes
foods,
we
yeah.
don't really sometimes, somebody says, well, you can't eat this or you can't eat that. And then when you had said, pay attention to your body, that's kind of what this is doing. It's kind of going into your higher self, your subconscious mind, and testing what is good for me. So what do you think about that? Because when you go grocery shopping, I mean, I know that you're like a master chef, you have master recipes, and I mean, your food is so amazing. I know that. But like, have you ever had that experience where like you're feeling a certain way, like, oh, I'm craving for kale, or I'm craving for spinach or something like that? Is that one of the things that determines what you prepare?
I definitely feel so for women that are cycling, we're still in our reproductive area of life. Like we will often gravitate towards certain foods at different points in our cycle, right? So I have already figured out just by doing this over time, by listening to my body over time, that in the beginning part of my cycle, I want lighter foods, right? So in the summer, it could be salads. In the winter, it could be lighter broth-based soups, but lighter foods. And then like towards the end of my cycle, like, what people would call the PMS week and then the menstrual week, like I want more warming foods. So I want more roasted vegetables, and I want more, like salmon versus light fish, or I want just things that are a little bit heavy, not heavier, but like, more
Comfort?
bulky. Yeah, more comforty,
Comfort.
but in the way that supports my body, right? So like more roasted sweet potatoes versus in the earlier part, I might just want, like a salad. So I definitely have listened to my body that way. I'm not as good as you with the muscle testing. I think you have a real gift there. I would love to be able to hone in on that. I will say that somebody gave me a tip recently. She said have you heard of the pulse test?
Mm-mm.
So when you eat a certain food, like let's say, so peanuts, I know that my body doesn't love peanuts. Like I can have them in small amounts, but if I have too much, I know it doesn't go well. But like, let's say I didn't know that. And I have peanut now on I keep going like this because on my watch, I have an Apple Watch and it has a heart rate monitor. So it actually will tell me my pulse because I'm terrible. Like some people can feel their pulse. I don't know what it is. I can't feel it. I, so
Oh.
like if you notice what your pulse is and then you eat a thing or you put it on your tongue or whatever, and then you watch, if your pulse goes up by a certain number, then that's saying that your body is having a little bit of an issue with that food. So
Oh,
then
wow.
okay, maybe I need to back off of that food for a while, or maybe I need to go through a healing process and then try that food again. Like right now, I have to stay off of eggs for a while because I'm having a reaction, but I'm going to go through a healing protocol, like heal my gut a little bit and then try them again.
So, shoot, I had a thought and I just lost it. Um, when I lost it completely.
Right. Well, yeah, it was more, we were talking about taking a food out for a period of time and then healing and then trying to add it back using that pulse test. If you don't have time to take like a whole, because you can take a test to find out what things you're reacting to, right?
Right. No, this was actually kind of back to a comment that you had made earlier, and I just can't get it.
So much. We got so much going on.
That's the humanness of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're allowed to make mistakes in life. Yes, we are. Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
But I love that, for me, I kind of like wing it, let's say. I kind of wing it. I kind of go by what I'm feeling. I know that if I'm eating, I'm not as good at the planning thing, but I do know that now that you've incorporated soups into my life, I'm like, I am in love with it. And I know I need to learn more from you for sure. Right. So let's see. My tip, keep a record. This is another one. So this is a little thing I have here. You taught me this too, because when I went through your program, I was writing everything down and I was realizing that when I did that, there was like a consciousness that an awareness of what I was doing, as opposed to like, oh my gosh, I feel like eating chocolate and I'm stressed and I'm grabbing it and I'm just putting it in my mouth. I started keeping notes in here of what I was putting in my mouth every day because I know that that was a part of your program. And let me tell you, I felt like I was losing weight by doing that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh, so good. Well, it's a couple things. It's part of it is what you said. It's mindfulness. Like, because sometimes we'll grab for things subconsciously. We're just because they're there, or because, like you said, we're stressed. We don't think about it. But when you are writing something down, it is definitely a more mindful task. But also, I've had clients who, after if they writing down what they're eating, and then they write down how they're feeling, they start to recognize patterns. They're like, oh, I get really bloated every time I have cheese. Maybe cheese isn't my best friend that I thought it was, right? Which is, I had one lady cry when she figured that out. I'm like, there's cashew cheese. Don't worry. But you might find that there are certain foods that just aren't beneficial to how if you want to feel great all the time, you don't want to have this upset stomach, which a lot of us walk around with not even realizing it, then recognizing which foods are supporting your body versus taking away from your body, right, is one of the steps. So you're right. It is a great way to notice what you're eating, because it will affect what you eat, right? If you're writing everything down, you're like, I don't want to write that down. I'm not gonna look at that tomorrow. But also noticing how you feel after you eat each thing.
I love that, because I have a tendency to go on the front end of it and not on the back end of it. So I'm going like, okay, I'm feeling like eating rainbow charts, like one of my favorite things, and then an egg. And I have noticed that sometimes, like if I eat an egg, then that means I'm feeling tired. Like after I eat it, I feel tired. So that would be a sign that I'm having a reaction to the food that I'm eating.
Right. It might not, and it might not be a great food for you right now. And that doesn't mean it's not always going to be a great food for you.
Mhm.
But when you eat, you should have energy. Food should bring you energy. It shouldn't make us tired. Right. So yeah, that's a really great thing to notice.
Yeah, so some of the symptoms that you would have if you were having a reaction to food, so it would be feeling tired or not having the energy. I know since I've been working on my metabolism, I'm not tired after I eat. If I take a little pill, then it makes me so that I'm not tired. I have a lot more energy. But just from food alone, you're saying that you are that your food alone should give you that energy without having something. So what are some of the symptoms food is causing an allergy or a reaction for a particular period of time?
Yeah. Now there is a difference between being allergic to something like a food allergy versus a food sensitivity. So a food allergy, you're going to have like an anaphylactic reaction. Like some people will have hives, or they'll have a closed air pipe. Like that's not what we're talking about, because that is, people usually know when they have an allergy.
Right. This is much more subtle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And the thing with sensitivities is that it may not be immediate, right? It might be a couple hours later. It might be the next day, which is why, like, for example, I cannot have gluten. Gluten is like death for me, but it doesn't happen right away, which is why I didn't make the connection for a really long time until I took a food sensitivity test, because it basically was a buildup. You have to have a certain, I would have to have a certain buildup of gluten. And then I would be like, oh, you're going to have a migraine for several days and be completely out of commission. So keeping that record will be good, like keeping track of what you're eating, because some of the symptoms could be headaches, migraines. It could be that you're tired. It could be that you're bloated. Some people will get swollen fingers. Some people will get rashes. So there are, some people get eye twitches. Like there are a lot of ways that you can have a food sensitivity. And so you can go through a pattern of trial and error or figuring it out. You could also just take, I shouldn't say just, but you could take a food sensitivity test and have a practitioner analyze it for you and give you that data so that you know what to do with it. Because the nice thing about food sensitivities is they don't necessarily have to be permanent. If you have, something going on in your body that can be healed, then those food sensitivities might be healed as well.
Oh, that is so you just made my day, because I feel bad. It's like I hate it when everybody says you can't eat this, you can't do that, and when we have to take the steps to feel good every day by choosing the food, by being more aware, paying attention, figuring out, planning. You definitely recommend planning and having good, healthy snacks, right? In your
Yes, you have it
refrigerator.
around, you'll reach for it, right?
Right. Yeah, I saw your show on that, and I just absolutely loved it with with learning all the jars and everything with Marion. It was a great show. Hopefully,
Yes.
people will be able to catch that. So I thank you so much, Claudine, for coming and sharing these tips, because as I said, this is the very baseline, most important thing. And people can you tell us exactly how people can contact you?
Absolutely. They can follow me. Well, my name is a little hard to spell, but they'll find it on your,
Yeah,
they can follow me on
I love
Facebook,
it.
Instagram, all the places, but they could also go to
Mhm.
my website, ingoodcleantaste.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being my first special guest. I love you. I think you're beautiful. You're stunning. You are definitely a picture perfect, I eat healthy woman.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. I'm so grateful to be on your show. Thank you, Lana.
You're welcome. So, thank you for being here with me, learning the steps to feel good, the basic step to feel good daily, of nutrition. And I look forward to my second show. And you can find me again at happyhealing.me. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. You can learn more about me, my products, and services at happyhealing.me. Make sure to join me for another episode every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Central Time on my globally recognized show, Steps to Feel Good Daily with Lona.